A Roman priest defying an emperor's brutal decree, secretly marrying young lovers in the dead of night. His punishment? Execution on February 14th. But before he died, he slipped a note to his jailer's daughter, the world's first Valentine. That sounds romantic, right? Well, hold on. Because the real story of Valentine's Day is way darker, weirder, and more controversial than any Hallmark card would ever admit. From pagan festivals involving animal sacrifices and naked rituals, to a billion-dollar industry that didn't even exist 200 years ago, the holiday you think you know has a past that might just shock you. Let's rewind to ancient Rome. Around 270 AD, forget roses and chocolates February was all about Lupercalia, a wild fertility festival that would make modern Valentine's Day look like a church service. Every February 15th, Roman priests called Luperci would sacrifice goats and a dog. And this is where it gets bizarre. They'd strip naked, cover themselves in the blood of the sacrificed animals, and run through the streets of Rome, whipping people with strips of goat hide. Young women would actually line up for this, believing the bloody whips would make them fertile. But the Roman Empire was changing. Christianity was spreading, and church leaders were not fans of naked, blood-covered priests running wild. They needed to replace this pagan madness with something more Christian. Enter Saint Valentine. Except here's the problem. Nobody really knows which Saint Valentine we're talking about. The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different Saint Valentines who were all martyred on February 14. Talk about bad luck. The most popular legend goes like this. Emperor Claudius II believed single men made better soldiers, so he banned marriage for young men. Priest named Valentine thought this was cruel and continued performing secret marriages. When Claudius found out, he ordered Valentine's execution. While imprisoned, Valentine supposedly fell in love with his jailer's daughter and sent her a letter signed from your Valentine before his death on February 14th, 269 AD. Romantic? Absolutely true? Probably not. Historians today think this story is mostly medieval fan fiction. But here's what makes it fascinating: people wanted to believe it. They needed a martyr who stood for love against tyranny. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, this is when Valentine's Day actually starts looking like something we'd recognize. In 1382, English poet Geoffrey Chaucer wrote Parliament of Fowls, linking St. Valentine's Day with romantic love for the first time. He wrote about birds choosing their mates on Valentine's Day, and suddenly, the idea caught fire across Europe. By the 1400s, Charles, Duke of Orleans, was writing love letters to his wife from prison, calling them Valentines. Young lovers in England and France started exchanging handwritten notes and love tokens every February, the 14th. The tradition was spreading, but it was still mostly a European thing. And here's a detail that might surprise you. It wasn't commercialized yet. These were genuine, handcrafted expressions of affection. No assembly line, no mass production, no Target aisles full of teddy bears. Valentine's Day arrived in America with European colonists, but it stayed pretty low-key until the 1840s. Then a woman named Esther Howland changed everything. Esther was a graduate of Mount Holyoke College who received an elaborate English Valentine. She thought, I could make these and make money doing it. She started her own Valentine card business from her Massachusetts home, using lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures. Within years, she was making $100,000 annually. That's millions in today's money. She didn't just start a business. She started an industry. By the early 1900s, printed cards were everywhere. But Valentine's Day was still just about cards and maybe some flowers. The real explosion came after World War II, when American consumer culture went into overdrive. The 1950s brought chocolate hearts. The 1980s added teddy bears and jewelry. The 1990s normalized expensive dinners. Each decade added another layer of expectation and another reason to spend money. Today, Valentine's Day is an absolute beast of an industry. Americans spend over $25 billion on Valentine's Day annually. Let that sink in. $25 billion. Where does it go? So the average person spends around $192. Men typically spend twice as much as women. We buy 250 million roses, mostly red. We purchase 58 million pounds of chocolate. We buy cards, jewelry, fancy dinners, weekend getaways, and yes, even gifts for our pets. Pet Valentine spending is now a billion-dollar segment on its own. The jewelry industry makes 25% of its annual sales in the 2 weeks before it's Valentine's Day. Restaurants jack up prices, hotels charge premium rates. The entire economy pivots around February 14th, but here's the twist. While America goes outline, much of the world celebrates differently, or not at all. In Saudi Arabia, Valentine's Day is banned. In India, some consider it a Western corruption. Japan has a unique tradition where women give chocolate to men, and men reciprocate a month later on White Day. Not everyone's buying what Hallmark is selling, literally. Singles Awareness Day said emerged as a tongue-in-cheek counter-movement. Galentine's Day on February 13th celebrates female friendships popularized by the TV show Parks and Recreation. Many people now reject the commercialization entirely, calling it a Hallmark holiday designed to guilt people into spending money. Young couples especially are pushing back, choosing to celebrate love on random days throughout the year instead of following the calendar's command. There is a growing sentiment that real love doesn't need a designated day on. It definitely doesn't require going into debt. Plus, psychologists point out that Valentine's Day can actually increase loneliness and depression for single people, creating unrealistic expectations for couples and commodifying what should be genuine emotion. So from blood-soaked fertility rituals to billion-dollar chocolate sales, Valentine's Day has had quite the journey. A martyred priest, maybe. Pagan festival, definitely. A medieval poetry trend, absolutely. And now, it's whatever you make it. Maybe you love the excuse to celebrate romance. Maybe you think it's a corporate scam. Either way, on February 14th, remember, whether you're buying roses or boycotting the whole thing, you're part of a tradition that's been evolving for over 1,500 years. And that's the real love story, how a holiday keeps reinventing itself. Generation after generation, controversy after controversy. Happy Valentine's Day, however you choose to spend it.